No, I don't have any makeup. I just have hot cheetahs, so I have lips that look colored. But, yeah, like, you know, when people see me, you know, they just see someone in their 20s, you know, that looks capable intellectually, but they are unrealized of my developmental delays with my executive functioning and social stuff. So, you know, like, when on the forum I said, like, I can't help this, you know, my executive functioning is that of an elementary school child's. And that is why, you know, I'm in regional center. And because it is so rare to have a person without an intellectual disability have an aspect of their development, you know, be at such a young age, you know, without an intellectual disability, there are not many places where you could put myself. So, you know, unfortunately, you know, I got put in with intellectual disabilities, which added to further social delays in myself. So, you know, when you see me, you know, like, I am not functioning or able to be judged as a typical 20-something-year-old. And, you know, people would be confused in why, because I'm intellectually capable, you know, I seem fine with it, but those are invisible disabilities. One with my development and external environmental factors, and also my organic brain delays in maturation. You know, even when I was an elementary school child, I'd learned how to read when I was very young, you know, 2.5. But the teacher wanted to hold me back because she thought I was emotionally immature and unready to be in kindergarten. My mother, of course, did not listen to her because I was such a young reader. You know, she could not understand why. But what Miss Stacy had actually been seeing in me was autism developmental delays. You know, I had a lot of signs, but it's uncommon for girls to get diagnosed, and I was still pretty young to be diagnosed, only 8 years old. But it's uncommon for girls to be diagnosed that young. Even that, you know, it's younger. The younger and younger you are, it is uncommon for girls, especially back then, you know, to be diagnosed that young. Still today, probably even that young. But I had many signs, you know, I had sensory problems, I was pulling out my hair, and my mother thought I could have leukemia. I had sensory processing issues, other stuff. The hyperalexia was another autism sign, but that's less known as one. So, you know, judging me at my chronological age, you know, you can't do that. You know, you can't judge me in certain areas as an adult because I'm undeveloped in them, and that's an invisible disability that people would not be able to see, you know. It's not obvious unless, you know, it looks like laziness, it looks like making excuses. It looks like a bunch of things because people aren't seeing my brain wiring and development. You know, it's an elementary school child's. And socially and emotionally, I am not developed as somebody in their 20s due to the delays, due to missed social experiences and having no friends growing up, due to having been put up with intellectual disabilities, due to having been institutionalized, due to the abuse from my parents and the bullying. So I am not functioning as a 20-something-year-old. And that is something that people do not realize. And that also matters for diagnoses. It would affect the accuracy of something like a personality disorder diagnosis like borderline. And especially when I had been diagnosed with that condition underage. So this is what I mean when I'm saying that stuff. You know, you can't judge me as somebody in my chronological age with that stuff because I have the developmental disability. I have an abnormal social development. And this is also what I was trying to say with socionics as well. You know, I'm underdeveloped in certain areas and follow a slower development.